Okay, so from glucose turning into pyruvate in glycolysis, hindi pa yan pwedeng pumasok sa Krebs cycle kasi pyruvate has 3 carbon atoms. So, kailangan yung pyruvate na yan makonvert siya sa acetyl para makapasok siya sa Krebs cycle. Pero ano ba ang mangyayari sa ating pyruvate na na-produce during glycolysis? So, what are their fates? Okay? So, meron tayong tatlong fate ng pyruvate. Ano ba yung pwedeng mangyari sa kanila or sa pyruvate na na-produce? So, the three common fates of pyruvate generated by glycolysis, they could actually be an acetyl-CoA. So, ito na yung pwedeng pumasok sa Krebs cycle. This pyruvate molecule can turn into an acetyl-CoA if the condition is aerobic, and this could only be true for human body, animals, and microorganisms. Okay? So, si pyruvate pwede siyang maging acetyl-CoA. So, that's one of its fate. Also, pyruvate during anaerobic condition, so there's no presence of walang air, anaerobic, in humans and animals and some organism, that pyruvate could be turned into a lactate. Okay, so lactate naman siya. Lactate is also 3 carbon atoms. Si acetyl, 2 carbon atoms with the generation of carbon dioxide para masatisfy pa rin natin yung 3 carbon atoms niya. And the last would be the conversion of pyruvate into an ethanol. This happens in anaerobic condition in some microorganism. So this one would be, so ethanol has 2 carbon atoms, and of course meron ding production of carbon dioxide para masatisfy natin yung 3 carbon atoms. Ay, sorry. Okay, so all in all, the common would be pyruvate. Common fates of pyruvate would be it could turn into acetyl-CoA, it could turn to as lactate, and it could turn into an ethanol. Pero sa human body, ang fate lang niya could be acetyl-CoA sa humans, okay, and lactate. Okay? Now, paano siya papasok sa stage 3? Of course, kailangan niya munang mag-undergo sa stage 2, which is the formation of acetyl group. So from the pyruvate, it will then be oxidized to acetyl-CoA, and the net overall reaction, so hindi lang ito one-step reaction. So parang glycolysis lang na marami pa rin siyang mga reaction. And the net overall reaction for this would be from one pyruvate molecule, it will react with a coenzyme A. And of course, this is an oxidation reaction. So meron tayong NAD+. And the enzyme is pyruvate dehydrogenase complex para ma-attach si acetyl kay CoA. So this one would be acetyl-CoA ang maproproduce, and the NADH plus the removal of carbon dioxide. Kasi nga itong COO na yan, so magiging CO2. Itong pyruvate na to, magbre-break sila dito sa site na to para maka-attach yung sulfur content or sulfur part ni coenzyme A, kaya ito naging acetyl-CoA. Okay? And then of course, the H, lumipat siya kay NADH. Okay? So, that one, during this process, meron pa rin tayong na-produce na NADH. So, this NADH could enter the Krebs cycle. Okay? So, this one is the production of ATP from one molecule of glucose. So if you could remember, we are producing two molecules. Kapag nag-produce tayo ng two molecules from one glucose, of course, it will be using two coenzyme A, it will be using two NAD, and it will be producing two acetyl-CoA. producing 2 NADH and producing 2 carbon dioxide. If all of the product of glycolysis wherein the glucose will turn into 2 pyruvate will undergo oxidation for this acetyl-CoA formation. Okay, kaya dun sa ating computation, so yung glycolysis, 1 glucose will turn into 2 pyruvate. Meron tayong na-produce na 2 ATP. So, 2 ATP na yan. The 2 NADH, kapag itong 2 NADH na na-produce dun sa glycolysis, balikan natin ito. So, ano ba itong 2 NAD? Ito yung, okay? Yan yung 2 NADH na sinasabi. Okay, so that one would be multiplied to 1.5. 1.5 lang ang multiplier dito sa NADH na na-produce during glycolysis. Magkaiba yung factor ng NADH kasi nananggaling sa Krebs cycle. Okay? So 1.5, so that 2 times 1.5 is 3. And then during acetyl-CoA, yung ka-discuss natin kanina, the pyruvate will turn into acetyl-CoA, but we are speaking of 2 pyruvate, kaya sa isang pyruvate, isa lang ang NAD na ginagamit, NADH na na-produce, but if we're talking about the 2 pyruvate, then we're going to have times 2. And then the multiplier would be 2 ATP, so that would all in all be 5 ATP. And of course, yung alam natin na Krebs cycle, wherein nakaka-produce ng ang isang acetyl-CoA during one cycle of Krebs cycle, or yes, 3 NADH times 2.5. Then we have 1 FADH2 times 1.5 and 1 GTP. And all in one cycle, that's 10. However, that would be multiplied to 2 kasi nga dalawang cycle ang gagamitin natin kasi dalawang acetyl-CoA ang papasok. So that would be a total of 20 for Krebs cycle only. So all in all, for the glycolysis, nakaproduce tayo ng 5 ATP for 1 molecule of glucose to 2 pyruvate. So that's total of 5. But the 2 pyruvate will undergo oxidation so as to produce 2 acetyl-CoA, and that would be, the total would be 5 again. And for Krebs cycle, if these 2 acetyl-CoA will undergo, yung 2 acetyl-CoA na yan, will undergo Krebs cycle. So, ibig sabihin, dalawang cycle yan. And that would be 20. Kasi ang isang cycle ay 10. So, all in all, for 1 glucose, ang ATP na maproduce natin ay 30 ATP. Okay?